Am I ready for this video? I don't know that I am. I'm gonna piss people off. Might as well get on with it. Morning, pagan membrarian here. Coffee? Apothecary? Let's talk about Lilith. The story was originally told by rabbis to reconcile the two creation stories in the Bible. That's right, two creation stories in the Bible. Everyone argues about this when I mention it. Go pick up a Bible, read the book of Genesis. There are two creation stories in it. They're both really important because they tell the full story of not just how man came to be, but how the earth was created. You kind of need them both. And that, of course, raised some questions. Why are there two of them? So to reconcile this story, rabbis told a story that was not in Torah, which is the story of Lilith. And as the story goes, when Adam was created, he was created out of mud with a companion who was also created out of mud. This was his first wife. And they were, chilling in the garden. And they got into an argument because when they had sex, Lilith sometimes wanted to be on top. Adam did not care for this. So they took their argument to dear old dad and ended up breaking up. I really can't say I condemn Lilith for this. If you're dating a dude and you're never allowed to be on top in bed, you're good for you. Walk away. Do that. You're allowed to steer too sometimes. Drive the car. It's fine. Adam does not care for this. And that is really, Lilith goes off, and that is really just the end of it. In fact, she doesn't even have a name until the medieval period. I've heard scholars argue that this is because this is about the same time that the Bible is divided into chapters. And so it becomes more of a complex book like we know today, and you have to keep track of characters, blah, blah, blah. I think that's bullshit. The medieval period, we're talking about 500 years here. I don't really think that that was the thing. I think that this has more to do with dividing the chasm between God and man. And that was why the creation of Eve was so necessary, because Eve is made from Adam. She's not made from the same stuff as Adam, as the dirt of the earth. She's made from his ribs, so she's therefore subservient to him. And when she decides to exercise free will, all of mankind is punished, right? And that is when we start to see also the story of Lilith develop. Lilith gets a name, and she also becomes really demonized. It's when we start to hear these stories of not just Lilith going off, but Lilith going off and deciding that she is going to kill all of the babies. Yes, you heard me right. Her breakup was so bad, she decides babies must die. What babies, you might be asking? This is an excellent question because there are only two people on the earth. I don't know either. No one does. Some angels go after her. They try to reason with her and bring her back to the garden. They are not successful. But she does say that if babies wear a specific amulet or some shit around their neck, that then she won't murder them in their cribs. Okay, so I think that we have brought up two really important points here that we have to remember in the demonization of Lilith. And the first one is exercising free will. If Lilith will not answer to man and will not answer to God, she is therefore exercising free will. This is the same exact thing that happens to Lucifer, formerly known as Satan, when he refuses to bow to man and is cast out of heaven. And we see him also associated with the snake in the Garden of Eden in the second creation story with Adam and Eve. We also see Lilith sometimes as the snake in the Garden of Eden. Basically, the moral here is you get what you get, and if you try to test that, you're gonna get fucked up. God does not like it if you try to take free will when he did not give it to you. Don't do it, man. Do it. And the other really important part here is that chasm between God and man. And free will has a lot to do with it, because we here in the Torah and in the Old Testament, God and man being really, really connected. That God is directly speaking to man. He's making appearances. His angels are coming down. Man's going to heaven in the book of Enoch. And then in the New Testament, we don't see so much of that. No one's really talking to God except for Christ. That chasm becomes very, very, very wide. And it really becomes that way through the exercise of free will. So what is the easiest way to separate this creature that is so close to God, like Adam is, created of earth? And that's really to demonize. Is God really omnipotent and infallible if he not only cannot control this woman, but does not have a punishment for her? That is cured by her becoming a demon with a name, Lilith. We also have to remember that if we're going to include this story, then we are accepting a really, really important thing about the first 3 people in existence, which is that Adam had 2 wives. And if Lilith is not demonized, she is therefore very, very much alive when he takes his second wife, Eve. And this is akin to something we know of called divorce. And we all know that in the Christian faith, the old Catholic faith, divorce is not okay. It's not acceptable. It's still not acceptable in that faith. In the Judaic religion, it is. So if we're going to include this story in the Bible, we have to accept that not only does divorce happen, but it was exercised in the book of Genesis, and it was condoned by God because he made the second wife. Can't have that now, y'all. I mean, whatever would we do if people were just really, really, really having real free will? Man, that's scary as fuck. Weird to think about, huh?